Не знаю, возьмем там даты, которые называют Уитков, там, до Нового года, да? Вы считаете, что до Нового года...
Okay, so first of all, I'm actively thinking about moving to a different department, though now it is not the department that works on engines, but rather the department of I suppose supporting the projects. Like from what I understand, they make documentation of, you know, сопровождение, блять. I'm not sure how to. Well, project department is what it's called, and yeah, it's not really work the kind of I have experience with. It's really different compared to what I've been doing so far. And honestly, I feel like it would be somewhat useful for me to go there or do that. Especially since I just realized, hey, I speak English somewhat fluently, by the way, and that unfortunately is not a skill that as useful as it used to be, you know, 4 years ago, when ExaMars was still being developed, and now we don't have ExaMars. But unfortunately, I realized that I won't be able to do much and to grow much, maybe even in the time that in the allotted time. Okay, one card. Change flow series. Yes, I am just gonna select that. I'm gonna select also that. Not sure who I want to get, but yeah, this is really interesting. Касьянов on the background. Путин готов завершить войну. Касьянов к одной ступень мира, о чем торгуется Кремль.
Возможно прийти к какой-то новой договоренности, которая фактически остановит войну, в том числе и с Путиным.
Теоретически да, но думаю, что на практике будет дольше, потому что нет достаточного давления на Путина, которое принуждало его быстрее это делать. И он продолжает бомбить. Вы начали как раз сегодня правильно с этой ужасной информации о новых жертвах в Киеве, значит, и в других городах. Безусловно, Путин продолжает разрушать Украину. Продолжает, так сказать, сеять, так сказать, панику или недовольство, так сказать, внутри Украины своим правительством и так далее, и так далее. Поэтому он, с одной стороны, тянет время, ведет переговоры, и для всего мира, и для Трампа, главное, он, так сказать, вроде как конструктивно ведет себя, а с другой стороны, он продолжает свое темное дело, свое грязное дело, значит, продолжает убивать людей.
Что изменится? Ну вот, например, перенесемся мысленно не знаю, в ноябрь, декабрь. Что изменится в этой общей картине переговорной? Что сделает достижение какого-то соглашения возможным? Я искренне сейчас пока не вижу.
Но если не будет дополнительного давления на Путина, а именно давление, я говорю, про деньги, если не будет давления на сокращение его доходов, что Трамп отложил, и сейчас европейцы пытаются сформулировать сами, но я думаю, что без американцев это 19-й пакет, новый элемент, рычаг давления будет малоэффективен без американцев. Это так. Вот. Но если все будет как сейчас есть, экономическая ситуация, то этот год Путин завершает, он все профинансирует полностью. У него есть еще оставшиеся резервы, то есть фонд национального благосостояния для финансирования дефицита. там у него будет дефицит примерно 4, может быть, в крайнем случае 5% ВВП, что не катастрофически, это пережить это можно. Плюс там небольшое эмиссионное финансирование за счет выпуска и покупки за счет средств Центрального банка облигаций ОФЗ, то есть минфиновских облигаций для финансирования этого дефицита. Но в следующем году и будет исчерпаны резервы Фонда национального благосостояния, и фактически уже нельзя будет сильно рассчитывать на рост доходов, поскольку по нефти уже сложился, по цене на нефть на мировом рынке сложился такой более-менее консенсус.
Цена будет падать?
С 60 и 70, ну, падать она, я думаю, ниже 60 не будет, но выше 70 не будет расти. То, что уже для Путина это 50, значит, а не $70 за баррель, это будет другой бюджет. А ему нужно увеличивать расходы. Вы видите, что уже экономические расчеты уже, так сказать, не одного, не двух специалистов, а уже многих специалистов показывают, что в России уже фактически техническая рецессия. То есть 2 квартала подряд есть снижение экономического роста. Это означает, что все уже, так сказать, на грани рецессии. Не просто стагнация 0,00. Хотя говорят, что фактически будет 1% роста ВВП по году. Но это еще надо смотреть, но это все равно это какая-то статистическая погрешность. Все, уже, значит, исчерпались те источники роста, которые были рост военного производства и приток от высоких цен на нефть, приток денег, значит, этих источников уже нет. Поэтому ситуация меняется. Даже еще плюс и по инфляции в том числе, которая также давит на население и на способность, значит, финансировать, поскольку нужно все компенсировать инфляционный рост цен на любую продукцию, включая военно-промышленного комплекса. Вот сейчас закончилось сезонное снижение роста. И сейчас вновь индекс потребительских цен начинает расти. И будет расти, видимо, быстро. И поэтому сентябрьское решение Центрального банка по ключевой ставке, ну, скажем, под вопросом о его снижении. Она, конечно, может быть снижена, как было примерно уже обещано, или такие обещания были сформированы. Но после этого, я думаю, до конца года никакого снижения уже не будет. Может быть, в сентябре даже не будет. Но сейчас нужно просто... Экономисты будут смотреть, прежде всего, экономисты Центрального банка будут смотреть на статистику фактически понедельно, что будет происходить сейчас. Но ситуация тоже здесь, она, так сказать, все успехи Центрального банка по снижению инфляции завершаются. И поэтому к концу года будет, скажем так, переломный момент для Путина. Поэтому я и исхожу из того, что экономическая ситуация, то есть способность его, Путина, финансировать войну.
Окей. One chain attack hits enemy. Resistant damage. Not sure. Oh, okay, this one. Yes. Go to the middle.
Становится под большие риски. Поэтому он был бы заинтересован в этом, но на своих условиях. Поэтому...
Это то, о чем сегодня, собственно, я говорил в эфире. То есть, если я правильно вас понимаю, даже если Трамп не вводит новые санкции и, соответственно, не поддерживает европейцев санкциями со стороны Америки, которые могут быть достаточно болезненными, а судя по всему, он этого не делает, если он рассчитывает на дальнейшее продолжение переговоров, потому что такова была его тактика все последние месяцы, что мы не будем вводить санкции, чтобы, соответственно, Россия от нас не отвернулась, и мы могли продолжать говорить о мире. Даже если этих санкций не будет, к концу года ситуация изменится. Ну, то есть не изменится, а будет настолько выпукла экономическая, что Путин поймет, что у него сильно подгорает, и он станет более сговорчив.
Именно так. Вот, не будет никакой критической ситуации, но как вы выразились, подгорает, вот уже сейчас он уже понимает. Поэтому, конечно, он хотел бы это закончить.
И поэтому и сейчас...
Да, поскольку давления нет, значит, он торгуется больше. Будет давление, его потребности максималистские будут снижаться больше и больше. Вопрос так вот, давление с одной стороны и уступки с другой. Значит, поэтому это все такое весы такие. Поэтому европейцы это понимают, и поэтому они готовят 19-й пакет санкций для того, чтобы, значит, Путину показать еще, что мы не отступим от нашей политики давления. Трамп не хочет этим заниматься, и он от них отступает, значит, от всех своих даже обещаний и подготовленных там решений. Европейцы последовательно занимают эту позицию. Поэтому делаю вывод о том, что будет к концу года. К концу года, решающий момент. Сейчас мы в сентябре уже посмотрим проект бюджета, который будет опубликован, проект бюджета российского, и увидим, что там рост военных расходов не уменьшается, рост продолжается. Это уже будет сейчас 40% примерно всех расходов федерального бюджета, а может и больше уже будет. Да. Это будут военные расходы. Да, сейчас около 7% ВВП, будет 8% ВВП. Это уже потом много. Это не критично, но много и очень много. А финансировать это нечем. Цена на нефть расти не будет, увеличения доходов не будет. И поэтому, конечно, по совокупности факторов, конечно, его экономисты, я думаю, дают понять о том, что у нас проблема есть. И вы помните, даже на питерском форуме министры высказывали опасения, что к концу года у нас будут проблемы. Вот сейчас эти проблемы проявляются.
Это, скажите, это вот у вас последние цифры, которые вот недавно на этой, собственно, неделе министры, в том числе Силуанов, излагали Путину по экономическому росту, по дефициту и так далее.
Да, плюс Росстат. Вот вчера, сегодня Росстат новые цифры показал за 2 квартала, да.
И правильно ли я понимаю, что на самом деле вот та готовность Путина быстро сесть за стол переговоров с Трампом, отказаться от своей вечной мантры, что саммиты надо очень долго всегда готовить, быстро лететь в Америку, связано с тем, что он вот пока на своих условиях, он пока не отступает, но он думает о том, как выходить из этой войны?
Он думает о том, как выходить, это да, но он хочет выйти по максимуму победителем и вырвать, значит, из рук тех, кто с другой стороны с ним ведет переговоры, как можно больше. Он готов с Трампом встречаться каждую неделю. Это для него, так сказать, он черпает легитимность. В России у половины населения легитимность у него, так сказать, нулевая. За рубежом он черпает легитимность, и они транслируют через пропаганду. Вот никакой изоляции нет, есть серьезные разговоры, мы решаем судьбы мира и так далее, и так далее. Мы сверхдержава, и никто нас не унижает и так далее. Это главное для пропагандистских всех этих вот новаций, которые идут. А с Зеленским он никогда не сядет за стол переговоров. Для него это будет унизительная вещь. И он это не... И поэтому сразу же на второй день не он сам, а Лавров опроверг, значит, в телефонном разговоре.
Да, может быть, там действительно был какой-то испорченный немного телефон, что часто бывает с Трампом и Вудкофом. Может быть, они не так его поняли.
Может быть, так. Но я просто, отвечая на вопрос, будет ли саммит с Зеленским, не будет. Тройная встреча на троих может быть, если договоренности подготовлены. Поэтому Путин скажет, вот давайте мы готовы повысить уровень делегации. Давайте в Стамбуле продолжим. Наши предложения все знают. Он хочет тянуть время и душить, разрушать Украину.
Да, это понятная мысль, но если подытоживать то, что вы говорите, то на самом деле где-то, если не на горизонте, то немного за ним уже проступает завершение этой войны, и чем дальше, тем оно будет виднее. Это вообще довольно оптимистичный прогноз.
Я так и говорил Михаилу прежде. Если бы давление на Путина было больше, то к концу года было бы это соглашение. Сколько давления этого нет, принуждения Путина и созданием экономических проблем финансировать войну, этого давления нет, поэтому война будет продолжаться дольше. Но в любом случае Путин так же, как и весь мир, хочет эту войну завершить. У него свои проблемы, у него другие аргументации завершения войны. Поэтому он хочет по максимуму сейчас выжить, понимая, что все равно он придет. На тех или иных условиях придет к соглашению о прекращении войны.
Но речь идет там в любом случае о порядке там месяцев. Ну хорошо, это не 3 месяца, не 4, ну это может быть полгода, 7, там, как, ну по крайней мере, это временной отрезок, который, ну я не знаю, это завтра.
Думаю, что так. Это завтра, да. В горизонте войны, которая будет 4 года, это завтра, значит, да. 4 года это не завтра, значит, но с учетом той динамики, которая происходит, и мы все обсуждаем это фактически каждый день, то, безусловно, все устали, все хотят этого, значит, и все осознают уже, так сказать, реальную ситуацию, поэтому вопрос, да, нескольких месяцев. Ну, и по принципиальной позиции, и последовательности позиции. Запада по-прежнему нет единой позиции, мы понимаем позицию американского президента, так бы это все можно было быстрее бы все это ускорить, но, тем не менее, он хочет вот такую функцию модератора вести вот с такого угла, который не всем нравится, значит, украинцам особенно не нравится, это совершенно понятно, объяснимо, но вот так надо принимать это, как, знаете, как природное явление. Президент Трамп вот с такой позиции.
Тут вопрос вот какой возникает, и про это многие говорят, и это очень тоже звучит разумно и логично, что предположим, что на секунду, пофантазируем, война закончилась. Что Путину делать? Чем он будет заниматься? Он живет войной. Это смысл жизни для него теперь война. И выйти из нее, это значит остаться полностью, потерять тот фундамент, который на самом деле он сейчас построил под свой режим. Возможно ли поствоенная жизнь существования для Путина и его режима?
Думаю, возможно, и вот, они уже подготовились, в принципе, что делать с теми войсками 600 тысяч человек, которые вернутся, если закончится война. Я думаю, что никуда их сразу никуда не отпустят, не выгонят, понизят зарплату, но всех разместят в частях, будут тренировать, там говорить, мы все восполняем ресурсы, мы молодцы, лучшие в мире и так далее, и так далее. И постепенно люди начнут прекращать подписывать завершение контрактов, им будет разрешено это сделать, если на горизонте есть зарплата, а им платить будут не так, как сейчас боевые там и так далее, это вот то, что выплаты сегодня, платить меньше. Поэтому он будет держать этих людей. Эти люди не разбегутся и не будут там на каждом углу, значит, избивать или там убивать людей, гражданских. Он будет их держать в узде. Армия будет большой, военно-промышленный комплекс будет работать еще несколько лет для того, чтобы восполнить все резервы, которые все полностью использованы, все советские запасы и полностью исчерпаны. Значит, поэтому все это будет функционировать. Да,
может быть, я, кстати, подумал, вы сказали про людей, которые будут возвращаться в фронт тогда, я подумал сразу, может быть, вот с этим связана программа расширения СИЗО в России недавно, ну вот тоже на днях были эти новости, но я так тоже фантазирую.
Возможно, и так. Кто-то пойдет сразу совершать преступление, кто-то за зарплату останется, будет там тренироваться, значит, там отдыхать после военных боевых действий в казармах, значит, в каких-то городах будут ходить в воле. Это же контрактники, они же не будут сидеть с утра до ночи дома, да, они будут их отпускать домой в города и так далее. Поэтому это все, в принципе, решаемо. Все решается деньгами. Путин понял. Как после той мобилизации сентября 22 года, он понял, лучше эту тему не трогать. Поэтому деньгами. Напечатаем деньги, найдем где-то еще и так далее, и так далее. И поэтому сейчас, завершив боевые действия, он решать социальные проблемы этих людей будет деньгами. Поэтому у него уже это отработанное, так сказать, понимание, как это делать. И военно-промышленный комплекс также. Да, будут сокращены расходы из-за логистики, там, доставки боеприпасов к фронту и так далее, и так далее. Значит, это не небольшое сокращение, но начнут санкции потихонечку сниматься. И поэтому все будет как бы компенсироваться, и он рассчитывает на стабильность экономическую. Значит, эти подсчеты уже, я так думаю, и модели уже подготовлены у него.
Ну, я когда задавал вопрос, я не имел в виду, что будет с военными, которые на фронте, и куда их потом девать, а имел в виду, что будет делать сам Путин. Он же не может выйти из конфликта с Западом. Он уже вшит в фундамент российского существования.
Он вшит в фундамент российского существования, но у него будет хорошее отношение с президентом Трампом. Поэтому оставшиеся там 2-3 года правления Трампа, они будут для него какими-то сладкими такими. Значит, они будут обсуждать проекты, будут говорить, вы, европейцы, там, сказать, недопонимаете важности всего этого дела, продолжаете упорствовать в своих заблуждениях, а мы развиваем сотрудничество и так далее. Поэтому он будет с Трампом встречаться и решать проблемы мирового, так сказать, масштабы и так далее. Поэтому все начнет немножко размываться. Но и Европейский Союз после прекращения войны начнет снижать санкции. Поэтому угроза для европейской безопасности, путинская угроза не исчезнет. Не исчезнет. Путин будет по-прежнему размахивать шашкой, значит, и там пугать других, значит, но так вот он никуда не исчезнет, потому что не идет речь о том, что он будет побежден. И все люди в России будут видеть, что он слабак, и от него отвернуться, и он утратит свою силу. Такого не происходит. До этого не произошло. Если в 22 году во время контрнаступления Запад расплатился и обеспечили бы действительно Украину возможностью освободить свои территории и фактически разрушить путинскую армию, путинскую агрессию, тогда бы это было так.
Там вот тогда воспринимался серьезный риск ядерной войны. Я помню эти публикации.
Да. Ну, помните, президент Байден потом об сказал, что это главная его заслуга была, что он не допустил ядерную войну за этот период времени. Да, Украине не дали победить возможность, хотя она могла при помощи Запада это сделать. Теперь Путин в любом случае будет выиграть победителем. Поэтому внутри России у него ничего не угрожает.
И параллельно, вот вы описываете эту картину, а параллельно защищенная, вооруженная и с гарантиями безопасности, в том числе и от США, серьезными, Украина, соответственно, будет отпущена, ну как бы Путин ее отпустит, получается, все остановится, и Украина пойдет, соответственно, в Евросоюз, Европу, и это будет происходить параллельно с тем, что вы только что описали, так?
В этом сценарии это будет так, да, поскольку гарантии безопасности будут даны серьезные на другой Украину, и понятно, уже и Запад это уже признали, что любой компромисс с Путиным это только при жестких гарантиях безопасности для Украины. Поэтому, безусловно, Украина будет исполнять те свои программы, которые требуются для вступления в Евросоюз, и будет восстанавливать свою экономику и так далее. Да, это будет так, и будет наращивать свои вооруженные силы, в том числе для обеспечения безопасности. Это так.
Вот такой оптимистический, я прям четко скажу это, прогноз от Михаила Касьянова на, ну скажем так, на ситуацию в следующем году. В любом случае, это если не полгода, то, по крайней мере, в следующем году война может закончиться, Украина может сохранить независимость, и люди перестанут погибать. Михаил Касьянов, бывший премьер-министр России, о том, как идут и куда придут переговоры по завершению войны в Украине.
Hey there, it's Josh. Welcome back to Let's Game It Out. We're playing Noble Legacy today, just the way I like it. The cause is noble, my legacy is secured. Oh, and also this video is sponsored by Acecraft Sky Hero. But more on that in a little bit. For now, it's time for a new game. And we start out with my favorite thing in the world, character creation. First up is body shape. I think just for this guy, we're gonna cinch the belt. And let's size him down a little bit. By that, I mean all the way. Age 18? I don't think so. Welcome to your twilight years at age 90. You know, I don't know if he really looks 90. He pretty much starts out as a normal guy and slowly gets gamer slouch. Ah, the ravages of time. Maybe it's the hair that makes his head look so big on his body. And I'm starting to believe that's not true. He's still a miracle at age 90. On the other hand, we can make him look distinguished. And obviously our eyes are gonna need to be as big as possible, and as bulging as possible, and as spaced out as possible. And if we're lucky, when we lower the height, when he blinks, he can see through his own eyelids. And pupils to full. Yes, hello, my lord. I see you've gotten into the narcotics again. And we have all manner of different kinds of outfits. This one might be my personal favorite, on account of his smooth chest coming up to his 90-year-old neck. But I think we're actually gonna go with the simple tunic, where he is by far the most chesty. Oh, and we gotta have matching pants, right? Oh yeah, I think we found the winner. I really dig that tunic tucked into pants, tucked into tunic look. And bald sure is powerful, but let's see what kind of hats we have. A lot of really interesting choices, but I think we're just gonna stay with bald. Oh god, what happened? Never mind. I'm sure this is just a glitch, but my god, I hope it stays. It's best to form your legacy with an open mind. And finally, character name. Lord... Oh, I don't think there's a character limit. You wouldn't know it, but I'm still holding down A. And I can confirm that by pushing a different letter. And then holding A again. Now he's Lord Aha! And scene. Oh, and you know what I like is when you're in the loading screen, and then you can hear the game building itself in the background. Yeah, that's the good stuff. So I think the reason it's called Noble Legacy is because this is us in our carriage, and we're already nobility. And we're on our way to this town to tell people what to do. And this guy is Edward, our super annoying helper. And then there's us, perfectly in frame. Okay, and here we are in the actual game. Unfortunately, our cranium is completely filled in. I'm sorry, what the hell was that, Edward? You weren't peeing on the trees of my kingdom, were you? You know what? Never mind. Do what you want, just stop looking at me that way. Oh, and also, I'm looking good when I walk. A capable leader likes to push his clothes in and out of his body. Look at that, the top part, that's the top of the pant legs. You know, if I were a taller man. Either way, here we are at Greenwood Farm. You there, Tomas! I must have words with... You know, never mind. Let's go talk to Alma. Surely she'll know what to do. Hello? Hello? Oh, well, this is awkward. Hey, you can't fool me. You're not actually asleep. Well, let's have a talk. What? How dare you phase away from me? All right, hang on. I need to wait this one out. I need Alma to leave work, go back home, and back to sleep so we can try that again. Even if it takes forever, I'll wait. So I was standing around and I realized, even now, I have access to the build menu. And part of that is this, demolishing. Does that work now? Oh, excellent. I'm glad the door was still here. There's no reason to not have manners. So let's go ahead and demolish this wall. Whoops. Looks like that made the bed disappear. Oh, well, let's just soldier on and keep demolishing stuff. And if we destroy this last wall, will the whole thing come down? Looks like no. Look, Edward, we have magical powers. And I don't think Alma's gonna go to sleep in here until we put a bed back down. So we'll just go ahead and put that right here like that. Yes, a new house was built. It meets all the requirements of a bed and a door. Truly ace construction work. And hey, you know what else is pretty ace? Why, that would be Acecraft Sky Hero, the sponsor of this video, and a rootin' tootin' shootin' good time. Okay, so hear me out. It's a bullet hell shooty game, which I like. It's got that classic rubber hose cartoon style, which I also like. And then I saw it was in portrait mode because it's on mobile, and I thought, how's that gonna play? It turns out really well, actually. You just move with your finger to fly around, and it feels really snappy and comfortable. And I'm playing it on a nearly 6-year-old phone, and boy, while it starts out relaxed to get you into the game, it gets pretty fast-paced pretty quick. Like, I was slouching when I started, but I sat up and focused up real fast. Once there was endless projectiles all over the place. The other thing I've been having a good time with is its absorb and counter mechanic, where basically each time one of these projectiles is pink, you just lift your finger off the screen, and your pilot can suck up those projectiles and fire back with extra damage. It's a fun time trying to incorporate grabbing those, while also thinking about how not to get hit. Anyway, let's move What's-Her-Face back in. And it looks like we've got a menu here to manage all this stuff, including housing. Let's see, I can't really tell which house is which. Luckily, we can rename them. So let's name one of them House, just so we can figure out which is which. Ah, yes, good, we're in the right place. Now all we need to do is assign this house to Alma, and through telekinesis, I forced that memory into her brain. Oh, there she goes, wandering into her house. and back out again. What? Are you afraid? I've been actually standing around waiting for her to go back to sleep for what feels like days. Probably because it has been. I think we got here at the beginning of March. It's already May 26th. We've been waiting for almost 2 months. Oh wow, it's like the game heard me. I just downloaded a new patch, and look, no more days. It is now simply autumn 1100. Maybe she's just really upset about the no door frame thing. Oh my god, she's approaching. Is it actually happening? Are you gonna use your house? We did it! Victory is at hand. And now let us... Edward, can you believe this? Screw it. She's never going to bed. Let's just chat out here.
Hello, traveller. Welcome to Greenwood Farm.
This place is in a sorry state. I can see that I have much work ahead of me.
That was it? Oh, now you go to sleep. Of course you do. And then I wake her from her slumber, and then she whips out the most scuffed broom I've ever seen. And back to bed with her new companion. I, too, get my best sleep when I spoon my security broom. Oh, sorry. Didn't mean to disturb you. I'll go now. Anyway, according to our tiny lord, this place is in a sorry state. So let's fix it up. And for that, we're gonna need more wood. Now, I can go over here and just chop it myself. And oh, the fun we will have until we're flush with lumber. But eventually, we're gonna run out of space. These logs are heavy, and my carrying capacity is maxed out. And we can fix that by building a little woodworking thing that can hold all that. So let's see, how are we gonna... Wow, I can make things this high, huh? Well, I mean, why not? After all, my lord can still get up to it. And on this thing, we're gonna place a log pile. A staple for lumber storage. You said it, tooltip. We'll just put that right there. Oh, but it looks like for this to become a true woodcutter station, we also have to put down a woodcutter's bench. A bench to process logs into planks and kindling. Okay, and scene. And now whenever we need planks, we can go up to this thing, and then my lord can show us how it's done by sawing off his own fingers. And then we can shove all that stuff on the log pile. Here you go, log pile. Have these breadsticks, I mean kindling, as well as all these boards, and of course all these logs. And wow, look at that carrying capacity. Log pile, you're so strong. And now, of course, I'm kind of curious. Can I actually put a dent in the landscape? Well, let's find out. And the answer is kinda. You can definitely expose more of the landscape, but there's things like this bush you can't chop at all. And some of these trees grow really fast. But now I can see the mountain, and I need to know, can we go up there? Well, at least I know we can pass the river. I mean, after all, it's all my kingdom, right? Gasp! There's a person on the road. Wait a minute, there's a road? Hey, you. Who the hell are you? Time to use my kingly powers to get Alexander's details. Ah, Alexander. Thoughts? Pending, and pending. Unfortunately, there's not much we can do besides, you know, stare at them. But glad to know this is here. Anyway, where were we? And getting closer. And closer. And I think the game is trying to keep me from getting up here by making this too slidey for me to get on. But did they forget that my lord can make foundations? Must be placed on ground. All right, well, surely somewhere around here is ground, right? Okay, there we go. I found a place. And from here, it's as easy as hopping on the foundation. And it's, well, it's not a clear shot. But now I do believe it's time for wooden stairs. Yes, good. And then we can place a wooden floor. Actually, we can place several wooden floors. And then more stairs. And then that should be enough to get up. We did it. Oh my goodness, we can actually reach these trees up here. Which is good, because obviously we're gonna cut them down. Yes, that'll teach you. Grow within my...
Most of the shit I get is bullshit.
Vision, will you? And who's your little friend? Doesn't matter. Have at thee. Yes, and look at this. We can look back at our village. All that we lord over. You know, while I'm up here, I should really leave them a message. You know, like it's the Hollywood sign. So let's see. I think all I really need to do is place like a foundation here. And then also one right here. And then also one right here. Okay, I think I've just about finished here. I'm feeling rather proud of the work I did. I'm especially proud of this part right here because it helped me discover something exciting about the game. While I was building this thing, I learned you can't just build foundations floating. They got to be placed on the ground. Or you could just bring it down here where it's valid and then whip it back up. And if you're quick enough, it'll just place. Oh, what a deal. What a beautiful time to be a lord. Anyway, let's head down the mountain and then we can do a proper reveal. Okay, here we are back in the village. And here it is. Dun-na-na-na. Yes, now you will always know this is my kingdom. The kingdom of my lord. Actually, wait, what am I doing? If I can build up there, why keep the village down here. Like, we don't need to have the woodcutter here. Get out of here. And I'm sure everybody will move, right? If I destroy all their houses. I mean, look, they're already disillusioned with this place, despondently staring off. So if I just go over here, destroy the bed. Sorry, Alma, you don't live here anymore again. And I'll do the same with the other building we have. Okay, goodbye. If we look at our buildings, now the only thing listed is farming, which consists of forager and fishery. Well, blow me down. I didn't even know we had these buildings. Well, seems easy enough to make this no longer this. Hello, forager's basket. Welcome to being demolished. That did it. No more forager building. And this fishery, well, I guess I'll leave this here, since I guess it does need the lake to function. That means the village of Greenwood now consists of just that fishery. Excellent. Let's head back to Malord, which is about to become the new town center. And let's see, I bet we can turn these things into functional-ish buildings. And up we go. Malord is so strong. So before I actually build anything, I think because the foundations are connected, it considers this one big building. And that won't do because once it's like a bedroom or something, it can't be used for anything else. And hopefully separating the foundations fixes that. I hope. We'll see. There we go. And now I think we can make each thing its own building. So I guess we'll start with the L because it's right here. Surely this will be a great bedroom for someone. So let's see. Is this really going to work? Like if we just put this bed down and then to complete this house, I add a door, which I'll put right here. New house built. Excellent. Although I noticed a bit of a problem. See where it says structure score 258 out of 14? I think that's because it's still counting everything. I guess disconnecting didn't do anything. And I can meanly tell because if I try to put something down like the woodcutter's bench, it won't let me. Cannot be placed on this type of building. I guess I just need to tear all these down without connecting these foundations together the first time. It shouldn't be too hard, hold please. Okay, I fixed it. I laid down all the foundations again. It's not gonna look quite the same as it did because it was a little bit more of a pain this time, and lining up was a little difficult, but I'm sure it'll look fine from far away. See, looks fine. VM's receding a little, but whatever. Okay, let's turn this Eye of Malord into a nice proper home. But because you idiots made me work for it, I'm looking at you, Alma. We're gonna go ahead and build some stairs, and then we'll go up here and add some more stairs. If only I knew how. Oh, silly me, I guess I need to have it on a floor, which I'm having trouble placing right in front of me like I want to. But what I can do is place it right here, and then place this one, and then go over here and delete this one, and there we go. And we can just do this until we've made stairs all the way to the very top, which is where we're gonna place our bed. And over here where this wall is, we're gonna tear this down, and right here is where we're gonna place our doorway and also the door. Yes, new house built. I hope no one needs to use this door, but what a view. Oh, and of course we've gotta name it. The best house in the realm. Oh, I ran out of space. The best house in the Rhea. Yeah, sure, that seems fine. And now let's assign Alma to live there. You know what, Fred? Why not you two? I mostly just want to see if they'll find their way over here. Otherwise, how are they going to see their beautiful new home? I guess I gotta go down there and collect them. Ow. Don't worry, my lord is okay. Very springy legs, that one. Ah, yes, I see. Everybody is clearly mobilizing. And by that, I mean standing around and having crappy conversations. Oh, I think she's going. Nope, never mind. That's fine, I get it. Going to sleep was never something you cared about. But you know what I think will give them some incentive is if it's connected to a job. So let's rebuild a couple of things, like the forager's basket, used by foragers to store berries and mushrooms. And then we can assign someone to do it, and then they'll run around and collect berries and put it here. And now let's assign both Fred and Thomas to be foragers. We have a different plan for Alma, though. You see this message down here that says a visitor wanted to explore the marketplace but could not? That's because we don't have one yet. That's what Alma's going to be doing, is managing the marketplace, which is going to exist up here right in front of the sign. But in order for this thing to actually work, we need to build a storeroom, which we'll go ahead and build on the O of Milord. This includes market storage as well as a market ledger. This desk serves as a place for merchants to make inquiries of the Stairmaster. Oh, the fun you will all have. And now a new storehouse is built. And now that we have this storehouse, Alma, it's yours now. Make it work. And hopefully the jobs are the incentive they need to come over here. Luckily, with any of your villagers, you can track their whereabouts. And Alma is clearly walking this way cautiously and onward to her new life. Can't wait to see how she copes with all the elevation change. So far, so good. And then she gets upset and stops trying. But then she tries again and succeeds. Would you look at that? She figured it out. Except for trying to enter the storehouse, where that tent is just too difficult for her. That's okay. Feel free to just Blair Witch back there. Although I can't tell where Thomas and Fred are yet. But as before, I'll go ahead and track them. Wait, where is he? Oh, there he is. He took an alternate route, it looks like. And Fred, where are you? Oh, Fred's already here. Oh, you're so discreet and immobile. Well, whatever. The important part is Milord gets to watch them do physical anything. And oh my goodness, look at this. There's already berries in the basket. Then we go over to the market and we assign the sellable items. Right now we're gonna sell berries and also mushrooms. And then when we're done, we say goodbye to this menu, I guess. Okay, Alma, get to work. Anyway, let's see about these visitors. You there, it is I, a highwayman. Lord Highwayman. Fine, carry on. I guess you're not a visitor to my fair lands. Okay, let's just go look over in the visitors tab. What the hell? Richard is right here. Oh, these aren't thoughts. These are intentions. I get it. Richard, that guy on the road, is pending. And everyone else is some combination of pending or, in Eleanor's case, fully failed. Okay, fair enough. I have another idea. Over here in the build menu, if we go over to the other button, we have but one feature. The dirt road. A dirt road for easier traveling. Villagers will prefer to use roads over natural terrain. What about visitors? Will they like it too? Wait, what the hell is this? How does this work? What? How did... Huh? Do I just place the... Oh, okay. I get it. We just keep dragging this to make the road. Is this gonna work? Can I just run this all the way to the top? I mean, I don't see why this wouldn't work. Visually, it looks perfectly sound. And just for everybody's ease, it's gonna go right to the marketplace thing. And place. Wow, how about that? It actually did it. Well, surely this is gonna help everybody, right? Especially this impossible part. Although I still don't know why people are failing the marketplace. That's okay, I have an idea. We just have to figure out where they're spawning from and then guide them accordingly. Presumably they'll be coming from somewhere. And it looks like we have an invisible barrier, so hopefully people spawn in from right around here somewhere. Wait, I see a guy way in the distance there. It's hard to tell because he's like a postage stamp in my vision, but I think I see two guys over here. Okay, for a moment I thought they were actually going to use the path, but at this point I don't know what to make of anything. Well, I guess they're leaving to make out in the woods now. Oh boy, looks like we have another wanderer, although this one seems like they know a lot better what they want to do, which is skip the road entirely and, yeah, you just gonna turn around again? I think the key is I need to get past this barrier, and I have an idea for that. Sometimes you can get over these barriers. You just have to get some height. So we're gonna build a little something to get us vertical. But hang on, let me build this first, then I'll explain. Okay, here we are. Building is done. I built myself a tower. A really, really, really big tower. Let me give you the tour. That's it. It's a bunch of stairways that go up and up and up. But let me show you how this is gonna be helpful for us. So as I walk, there's the invisible wall. I can't even walk over the stairs here. I have to jump up to the next level, which means that as I ascend, we'll always know if we're still being stopped by this wall because I'll keep hitting it in the same spot. But as we ascend higher and higher, there's a chance that could change. Nope, not yet. Even at our advanced height, we still gotta keep going. But I've got a good feeling about this. I think the day will come when this wall won't be here anymore. Is that day today? Oh, blessed be, we can walk right here when we couldn't before. Looks like we did it. If the invisible wall is like right there, we're past it now. So I guess we have no other choice but to jump down. I mean, it's not that far, is it?
The weak spot is here.
It's a good thing my lord doesn't take fall damage. Anyway, where were we? Actually, before we even see how we can help these people, I'm curious how far out we can go. I'm assuming since we're past that barrier, all of this can be ours. Wow, this really keeps going. I've been running for a while. Occasionally, I did see like an NPC appear. Hello, Edward. You know, speaking of Edward, whatever happened to our Edward? Well, who cares? I think I've been running for at least 10 minutes, and I just don't know if there's a... Excuse me, another invisible wall. Well, we know how to handle this. We just build a new tower. And I could just build it from scratch. But then I realized there's something we can do with the original tower we made. If we go up to this building, and then we bring up our menu, we can actually save the whole thing as a prefab. And now I can just build this anywhere I want. So let's head back to the other wall. Okay, and let's see if it'll let us place this somewhere. Okay. Ah, there it is. Well, that sure saved us some time. Okay, now we're up here and let's see if this will actually work. Bottoms up. Well, the answer there is no. And what an Olympic landing. Well, we know what we need to do now, and that's build even higher. So hold, please. Okay, I've been doing this for what feels like eternity. And then the most unexpected thing happened. I hit the height limit. So I guess this is as far as we go. Oh, whoops, I slipped. Well, at least this gives you an idea to look at how big the tower got. You might also notice it's snowing. It took a while to make this, okay? And in case you were wondering, this whole thing is 113 floors tall and takes a little under 4 minutes to climb all the way up. And all I can say is what a beaut. Still, we need to see if we can pass the barrier or not, and this should be as good as any spot. I mean, I get the sense we know what we're gonna get anyway. That has all the telltale signs at the end of the map. Either way, let's give it a shot. Bon voyage! Yep, still stuck against it, but at least we know what probably would have been over there. While we plummet to the ground safely. It wasn't a waste, though. After all, we learned about prefabs, and now to see if we can help these NPCs that are so easily discouraged. And it's a little hard to nail down. They just give up sometimes. Wait a minute, I think I see the problem now. The NPCs can't cross through the barrier either. Thankfully, I realized I probably don't need to worry about it. Remember that one random guy we saw spawn in while we were running around? I think that means they'll just spawn closer to wherever I am. So as long as I'm not too close to that edge, it looks like we'll be seeing people. Like this person, who as we can see is a lost cause and has already failed to relax or go to the marketplace. And I've tried to think of the best way to get people up there. Because if we look at this overview we have, ignoring all those ore deposits I don't care about, basically this is happening every time. People like Robert here are just getting stuck forever before giving up and going home. So I think I know kinda how to fix this so that people can finally relax and enjoy the marketplace. Maybe I can give them a couple of cues that'll help them out. For one, let's actually give them a path they can use. So first we'll have one that goes here and connects both sides of the road. Oh wait, they look kind of like lips. Well, in that case, I better finish off the picture. Okay, there we go. That was definitely essential. And now we'll set a road to go up parts of the mountain we know that they can do. Or at least I think they can do. Like, I bet they can just go across this and then probably up this. From there, it should be fine. Yeah, that should go great. Oh, and also we're gonna get rid of this first road we made. I don't want to confuse them. They're already dumb enough. But it looks like the NPCs still think they know better, because instead of staying on the road, he's going up there to show his pathfinding prowess. Actually, maybe this will be it. Or that. That's good too. Honestly, dealing with these NPCs is like a full-blown gaslighting roller coaster. They stay on the road for a while, and then they psych you out by pretending they're turning around, and then they go off the road again, and you think they're gonna climb up the hill, and then they just walk right past it, and then they have a conversation with no one where they bought something? What? Well, Ida, I'm sorry I doubted you. You didn't find it relaxing, but you did find the marketplace. You know what? I'll take it. I'll consider that working. I keep seeing this message pop up, by the way. New recruits available. Ah, I see. I guess this is how we get new people into our village. Well, Elizabeth is a clear candidate. Not because of her stats or attributes or lack of requirements, but because she already looks sad. She'll fit right in. Oh, thank God, a whole backstory. Oh, and I see I have to make them an offer to get them to stay. How about 10 coins? That brings your bartering meter to half. Is that good enough? Oh, well, you're lost. And for Harold, I can't even negotiate till I have a woodcutter thingamabob. Silly me for forgetting to make that entirely. We'll go ahead and put all that stuff on the R of my lord. Now let's see if we can get Harold. Excellent, welcome. And I assume he wants to be doing woodworking, which means I'm gonna put him on forage duty instead. Fred and Thomas, get out of there. It's all Harold all the time now. Oh, don't look so sad, you two. It's okay, there'll be other jobs. Fred, are you okay? What about you, Thomas? Oh, I think I broke their brains. I'm going to assume it's because they're disgruntled and hungry. First, we need to feed them, so I'm gonna make like a tavern thing. And we're actually gonna go build it on more level ground, because I'm a little bit afraid if I don't, their brains are gonna melt. Actually, how do I even build a tavern? I think the secret is over here in the research tab, and it looks like in order to make this tavern, first we need to unlock it. But in order to unlock it, we need to have somebody doing that research at the library. Okay, well, I guess this is for the library then. And let's see, for that we're gonna need, the research desk. Allow scholars to study and write books to unlock new technologies. Okay, hopefully we can at least have a little fun with this building. And by that, I mean, surely you can cope with like a little bit of stairs, right? After all, who doesn't want to have a killer view while they research? Oh, and we better be sure to give them like lights or something. We can't have them trying to research in the dark. All right, let's see. Can I put these in any weird places? Yep, totally normal. Yes, it's perfect. And let's see, which one of these losers do we want to recruit to do the research? Ah, yes, you. You look like an idiot. And I think we already have an Edward, so I don't even need to learn new names. Now get over here and start researching. Ah, there he is, sauntering over here for his work assignment. I'm going to assume that even he can't screw up getting to this. I take it back, he found a way out. The game crashed. Okay, let's try this again. Edward, no funny business. Just come up here and do some research. Ah, fiddlesticks, it crashed again. Okay, what do we think? Do we think it's the lights or the height? Or do you think that guy just really doesn't want to do research? I'll try to remove all the candles first. Okay, candles are gone. Edward, I swear to God, you better be into this now. Nope, still crashed. Good God, fine. I'll just bring this thing to you. There, is that good enough? Will that do for you? At least I can put the candles back. There, that'll do. Here, have some floor candles too. What I'm saying is I don't want you to ever leave. There we go. Lock in, Edward. You're gonna be here a while. In fact, I don't like how you're you're shimmying like that, so I'm gonna go ahead and lock you in. And just to make sure you don't get any bright ideas, bars on the windows. Well, that feels good. At least we found a way to give it some height. And now with our tavern stuff unlocked, it's time to go ahead and build the tavern. Now let's see, I want to put it close to the library so the guy can see all the fun everyone else is having. But I can't let it snap to that or else it'll think it's part of the library. So I think the way I can do that is, let's see, that's probably about the right distance, right? So I'll just move this one a little bit further off, place that there, and then we'll just place the next piece right there. Yes, that's great. And we'll actually get rid of this piece because I want to construct this a very certain way. And there we go. Nice square tavern with a jail in the middle. I mean, a library. And also I can see your pathfinding is going great. Hold your horses. We'll be a tavern one day. And I think in order to do that, we need to put down this stew pot. Oh my goodness, and our settlement has become a hamlet. Oh, game, you're such a hamlet. And it looks like in order to make this tavern official, we need to add a dining table and a couple of chairs. Can I put this table, like, on top of the... Okay, good. Thank you, game, for understanding my needs. I didn't learn my lesson the first time when the game crashed when a guy couldn't get to something. Oh, don't look at me that way. And I'm gonna throw caution to the wind and put these chairs on top of the table, fully knowing it might crash the game again. And lastly, I know that this leap is a little high for them, so I'll go ahead and build them little steps for their little feet. Oh, look, we have a visitor. Oh, see, she doesn't have a problem sitting down. She figured it out just fine. In fact, why don't I just keep adding as much seating as I can? Should probably put another table up here too. I mean, why not? Oh yeah, that's going great. What a perfect place to get together with friends. You can look as happy as she does. Oh yeah, see, now this is the ultimate get-together spot. Uh-oh, what's happening? Look at that. One villager's attacking another. And now everybody's wrestling. Well, not everybody. There goes Beatrice, noping right out of here. She's still going, by the way. Moonwalking away and into the mist. Meanwhile, these three are having a good old fight. And who's winning? Hard to say, really. Stand back, my lord will handle this. Boys, how about we talk this out? Blah! You are dead. Back to the main menu. And I guess that was the tale of my lord. I want to thank Acecraft Sky Hero again for sponsoring. Link is in the description if you want to check it out for yourself. So I hope you had fun. I know I did. And I'll see you next time.
The weak spot is here.
I won't be able to go for 2 more batteries, unfortunately. So that doesn't work.
Last month, I replayed Dark Souls 3 for the first time since it came out. Up until now, it was one of the few FromSoft titles I had only beaten once, and it's a shame it took me so long to get back to it, as Dark Souls 3 is very good. I can't think of many better examples of a studio firing on all cylinders to create stellar levels, music, characters, and of course bosses that add up to be so much more than the sum of their parts. After finishing the base game and finally getting the chance to play the DLC, I couldn't help but be swept away by its brilliance. And in the joy and excitement of revisiting this masterpiece, I was struck by a terrible idea. I should get all of the achievements.
So
For those of you who also made the mistake of 100%ing Dark Souls 3, this staircase will be irritatingly familiar to you. It is the most reliable way to collect the Covenant item for the Blades of the Dark Moon called Proof of Concord Kept. You can exchange 30 of them for a ring and miracle that is needed for 2 of the achievements. These 2 Silver Knights have a very low chance of dropping one. I've seen contrasting information across wikis and Reddit posts, but broadly speaking, based on the gear I was using, the drop rate for the item was somewhere between 3.5 and 4%. On a perfect run, I could do a loop in about 35 seconds, and on a not-so-perfect run, well, the time definitely could add up. Even when estimating at the higher end of the drop rate and a fairly generous run average of 45 seconds per loop, the pace would roughly be 1 Proof of Concord Kept every 12 runs, or about 9 minutes per proof. Extrapolating it out even further, and that's around 4.5 hours of grinding to get the necessary amount. There are 5 other Covenants with items like this. In fairness, none of the other grinds are as bad as this one. Most have more efficient farming spots, and a couple can be done through summoning a friend. But regardless, all of it put together will take most people around 15 hours. When I started, I knew this would not be time well spent. I'd be doing the exact same motions over and over again, not in service of learning something new or getting more skill, but rather in service of RNG. I have no issue putting a ton of time into figuring out how to do something challenging, but this was not that. The challenge was purely in mustering the patience to kill the same 2 enemies hundreds of times. Throughout it all, I found myself constantly asking, why? Why am I doing something that isn't fun, that isn't rewarding, that isn't enriching? There are hundreds of games in my backlog I could be playing instead, all of which have the promise of being a way better use of my time. Like, man, Ultra Kill looks so rad, and I've been saying I should play Citizen Sleeper 2 for months now, and maybe it's finally time to give the Kingdom Come Deliverance series a shot. But then I didn't. I came back to the stairs pace anyway. I suppose I felt a sense of obligation to 100% the game. FromSoft has been my favorite developer for a good while now. I've gotten all of the achievements in Dark Souls 1 and 2, for Bloodborne, for Elden Ring and Night Rain. It seemed a shame to not complete the Dark Souls trilogy just because of some grinding. This is a weird impulse I get with certain titles. With those that really click with me in a specific way at just the right time, I feel this desire to honor them, like I owe them something for providing me with a monumental experience. There's something about having that 100% next to a game that feels like it accomplishes that. It shows that it was worth it to be everything. The thing is, it very rarely is worth it. I've talked about this idea in the past, but most games don't really have great achievements. So often, like this grind on the staircase, they call for you to engage with the game in a way that is fundamentally different from what makes the game good. The stuff that made me want to get all of the achievements in the first place. With Dark Souls 3 specifically, the desire to 100% it came after the high of defeating Nadir and Slave Knight Gale, arguably the best fights in the entire game. Ironically though, fights that aren't tied to any achievements. Despite that, I knew what the achievements would entail. I knew it wouldn't just be fun stuff, but once I made up my mind that I wanted to do it, it was hard to want to abandon that. And once I collected 1 Proof of Concord Kept, and then a couple more, and then a couple more, it seemed like I should just stick with it. It was as if just by starting the grind, I had sullied my ability to have my playthrough end by experiencing one of the best bosses FromSoft has ever made for the first time. So if I couldn't end on peak, I might as well see this stupid thing through to the end. I wish I wasn't this susceptible to sunk cost fallacy, but it happens more often than I'd like it to. I reached the point where I'm not having fun, and not in a good way that will eventually have a real experiential payoff, but I stick with it anyway. A very similar thing happened to me earlier this year with Clair Obscur Expedition 33. I adored the game so much that when I hit credits, I didn't want to leave the world behind. I wanted to stay in it and honor the game by experiencing everything I could. And luckily, or I guess unluckily for me, Clair Obscur has tons of optional content to engage with. Now, some of it is pretty incredible, but a lot of the the optional stuff is just reskinned versions of older enemies, and as it is pretty easy to create incredibly powerful builds, most of it becomes trivial. Like, I didn't even use the Stenhall build that could one-shot bosses, but I was still beating most things I fought before they could even get a turn, and that includes the actual cool, unique bosses. What had mostly felt like a well-paced and decently balanced experience throughout the core of my playthrough turned into an exercise of just watching lights and colors for 15 hours as I collected every journal, gathered every record, and killed every boss, without the gripping narrative to propel me forward or the challenging combat to keep me engaged. Continuing to play it felt empty. Regardless, I kept with it long after I had grown tired of it. When I had rolled credits, I probably would have put it in my top 5 games of all time. When I got the last achievement though, I just thought it was really, really good. There is of course something to be said about loving a game so much that you end up overexposing yourself to it and enjoying it less. What better way to honor a game than be willing to experience the worst parts of it? This is a silly impulse. I imagine most developers would probably prefer players to not follow through on it, but it is an impulse I feel all the same. I hope that in 5 years or something, I forget about how I felt by the end of my time with Clair Obscur and only remember the best bits. It could be argued that remembering the experience of me kind of ruining the game for myself might help me avoid doing it again in the future, but I kind of doubt that's the case because only 3 months passed between me grinding the end game of Clair Obscur and me grinding this stupid staircase in Dark Souls 3, and the disappointment of that experience.
Besides, oh, yeah, I thought I would get more. Alright, I'll do it tomorrow. What I'll do today is some of that. Fire physical. Just like that.
Experience didn't deter me in the slightest. Now, this grind is not the intended way to gather the Proof of Concord kept. The way you're supposed to get them, as well as all the other Covenant items, is through PvP. I imagine getting these was more reliable at release when tons of people were still playing, but now it is pretty hit or miss. Not only is it exceedingly rare to get summoned as a Blade of the Dark Moon now, but in the off chance you do, it will almost certainly be into the world of longtime players that have crafted specific builds for PvP in these areas. Meaning, unless you are very into Dark Souls PvP, you probably will get stomped. These items being dropped by normal enemies is FromSoft's way of making the Covenant rewards attainable regardless of how active the player base is. It's a compromise. While attempting this grind, I had the Blade of the Dark Moon Covenant insignia on throughout and got pulled into an invasion a grand total of 3 times. There are a few things I could have done to make it a bit more likely to get summoned, but it never would have outpaced the farming approach. And honestly, based on looking back at old posts, even when the game was more active, it seems like getting summoned still would have been the slower choice. With all of this said, I do think it would have been a lot more fun to get all the Proof of Concords kept through PvP. It would have pushed me to engage with a system that I hadn't really put that much time into, to learn the meta, to hone my skills, to be truly challenged. The thing is, even if the PvP method was more reliable than it is, I have a feeling I probably still would have chosen to farm enemies instead of other players. With invasions, there is so much more out of my hands. It relied not just on my skill, but also on the skill of whoever I'm facing, as well as the number of players who are in the invasion, as these almost always are gang fights. Not to mention, it also relies on our connections to the internet. And while I'm sure I would get better at PvP through the experience, the uncertainty certainty of a reward almost certainly would have been enough for me to just stick with the more reliable method. I wouldn't know how long it would take me to win enough fights to get the Covenant items, and even if I played pretty much perfectly, which I know I wouldn't, there still would be too many variables that could lead to failure. Yes, spending 9 minutes to get one item is annoying. It is less fun, but it is reliable. And when the focus is all about the result, that's what becomes most important. This sort of thing isn't just tied to 100% in a game. Frankly, it happens all the time on casual playthroughs. A while back, Mark Brown of Game Maker's Toolkit put out a great video on how game designers protect players from themselves. And it centers around a quote from developer Soren Johnson where he says, given the opportunity, players will optimize the fun out of the game. It's so easy to fall into the success mindset, to go with a strategy that gives you, or even just seems to give you, the best chance of winning. I constantly fall into this sort of trap. I find an approach that works and become reluctant to try anything else, because what if that doesn't work as well? And games do often make it easy to fall into this. Like when you have a limited amount of an upgrade material and you've already put a bunch of them into what you're using, you won't want to waste anything on something that might end up being worse than what you have. What if you need it for something else? The majority of the time though, this just means I don't end up using most of what I collect. But by the time I realize I could have afforded to test stuff out, I'm typically near the end of a game. I did this with Lies of P. I pretty much used the starting heavy blade the entire time, and like, it was fun. I really enjoyed that game, but I'd be willing to bet that it is not the most fun weapon to use, not by a long shot. But I was afraid to divert resources to something else that might make me less effective. I think this sort of success mindset also leads to me becoming too focused on the main objective of a game. Sure, I do like having fun, but it becomes really easy to get pulled towards the things that will bring about progress the quickest, to get the satisfaction of moving forward. Ironically, to be done with the game sooner by avoiding what arguably could be the most fun stuff in the game. This combination of sunk cost and me trying to optimize how I approach games sometimes leads to me getting a very small slice of what a title has to offer. In general, I'm pretty bad at finding the middle ground with this. My gaming habits either get me to under-engage and miss out on things, or, like with Clair Obscur, over-engage in ways that rely on less interesting gameplay, usually in service of efficiency, and inevitably grow tired of it. This is why I like short games that don't have much used canvas, as well as very open-ended titles where everything you do feels like it is in service of the main objective. I've talked about this many times before, and unfortunately for you, I will talk about it many times again, but it's why Breath of the Wild works so well for me. While there certainly is a delineation between what should be considered main content and side content due to its structure, the lines are far more blurred, and everything you do builds towards the main goal of defeating Ganon in a tangible way. It made it hard for me to optimize the fun out of it in the way I want to do. This is also why I appreciated its controversial durability system. By having things break, I had to constantly be trying new weapons and approaching fights in new ways. The game didn't really let me fall into my old patterns. In Mark's video, he examines the importance of developers creating proper guardrails to help players play games in the most fun way possible, but there is a limit to what developers can do. They can't predict every player's behavior, and adding in too many guardrails may negatively impact the experience in other ways. With that said, at a point, as much as I hate to admit it, some responsibility has to fall onto the player to make sure they aren't ruining the game for themselves. This isn't always easy. It's hard to know the intent of every design decision and what actually is the best way to approach a game. How are you supposed to know if you are having the right amount of fun? Of course, these challenges don't absolve players from anything. Just because it is easy to fall into patterns that make a game less enjoyable does not mean people should let it happen. This is something I've been trying to come to terms with more and more. I've long recognized and publicly admitted that many of my issues with games are me problems, but I tend to discuss those issues by examining what certain games do or could do in order to appeal more to players like me. I far more rarely examine what I could do differently, how I can break out of my habits, leave my comfort zone, better engage with titles that don't match my design sensibility. Obviously, I love games that are designed to appeal to the tastes of players like me, but if I only play those kinds of games, I know I will miss out on special experiences. But it can't just be about playing games that are outside of my wheelhouse. It also has to be about playing them in a way that is outside of my wheelhouse. Test every system and weapon, even if I'm not mechanically incentivized to. Engage with exploration and side quests, even if it doesn't amount to progression. Make my own fun with the tools I am given, even when, or especially when, there is no actual reason to other than it be fun. I want to get better at this. I'm trying to get better at this. It's hard to get better at this. It's so easy to just say play in the way that's the most fun, but sometimes fun takes intention, and sometimes I don't know what will be the most fun. But the only way to find out is by trying. To be clear, I do think it is very valid to criticize the ways in which games incentivize uninteresting play, but there is a balance, and I know I could do more. Now, in the case of 100%ing Dark Souls 3, like I said before, there wasn't that much more I could do. The intended way would have required me to sit around waiting to get pulled into an invasion, and while the gameplay itself would have been more fun, it would have taken so long to do and wasted far more time. Farming these 2 Silver Knights just made the most sense. I mentioned before that during this grind, I thought about all the other things I could have been doing, most notably the games I could be playing instead. However, I think if I truly had wanted to play something else, I would have. The choice to continue wasn't just that I was pot committed or that I felt like I owed Dark Souls 3 something, it was also that it suited the headspace I was in whenever I chose to play it. It is harder now to be bored than it ever has been before. There is just so much always, and all of it is fighting for our attention. Whether it be the call for consumption or the call for productivity or the antithetical convergence of the two, we are constantly pulled to fill our time with something, to never let our mind be unoccupied enough to feel boredom. Of course, boredom is important. It lets the mind wander, it spurs creativity, it restores mental energy. We aren't designed for constant mental stimulation. We need time to do things that are less taxing. We need time to do things that let our brains settle. I could say that I could have been playing any other game instead of doing this grind, but that's probably not true. In the moments I was most interested in getting a few more proofs of Concord kept, it wasn't when I wanted to engage with thoroughly complex systems or be distracted from my boredom with something incredibly fun. It was when I was a bit tired from finishing up some work and just wanted something to do with my hands. It wasn't replacing the role of playing a game. It was replacing doodling, or skipping rocks, or spinning a pencil. Doing something that took a bit of focus, but not always. Doing something that kept me a little entertained, but not very. And yes, I do recognize turning to video games to fill this role means I am cooked. I know there are healthier ways to be bored. I turn to those plenty too, but this does have its value, and is far better than the easy trap of endless scrolling I am prone to fall into when I give myself the chance. Despite it being me playing a video game at the end of the day, it wasn't a pacifying act. And as the actions became rote, my mind had more and more space to wander. It wandered to my thoughts on FromSoft games as a whole and why they work for me. It wandered to my gaming habits and what I look for now in games as opposed to years past. It wandered to every idea I've talked about in this video. And once I found myself reflecting on and being interested in the things that were driving me to continue this stupid grind, that became a new drive. I needed to finish it so I could share my experience of falling into this kind of trap, of creating Sisyphusian grinds for myself for the sake of honoring a game even when it comes at the expense of it. And Miyazaki will never even see this. It added a new layer of meaning, and meaning is what I needed. I needed a reason to justify using my limited gaming time on this. And in turn, I began connecting to the grind more and more. The sword-wielding Silver Knight dropped me first 4 proofs, so I deemed him the cool one. At the end, I think the split was pretty even between the two, but that favoritism never wavered. Fuck the Spear Knight. I noticed phantoms of other players wearing the symbol of avarice, clearly taking part in the same grind I was, and I felt bolstered in my desire to see it all through. Any temptation to use mods in order to get the number of proofs I needed evaporated. If they had to suffer through this to get the achievement, it would be a disservice to them to do it in any other way. I read posts online about other people doing the grind, and I felt a camaraderie with them over our shared stupidity. Eventually, I found the grind to be relaxing and fell into a weird sort of flow state. I accepted that it would take however long it takes and just appreciated when things did go my way. On one run, both knights dropped a proof of Concord kept. It felt as good as beating Gale. Not long after, I went 20 minutes without a single drop. I lived a Dark Souls 3 experience that only 5% of people who played the game have. It was a waste of time. I would never recommend anyone do it, but I did do it. I suffered through it. For some reason. I went up and down these stairs time and time again, and it never seemed like a good idea, but I couldn't stop. The struggle itself is enough to fill a man's heart. One must imagine Rasputin happy. Of course, I am not Sisyphus. This is not divine eternal punishment. It is me choosing to play a video game in an unfun way. Maybe it started by getting swept up by the gaming habits I unconsciously fall into, but as I've already pointed out in this video, it didn't take long for me to recognize this, yet I continued anyway. I found meaning in the repetition. I made it the kind of suffering you look back at fondly. I do want to be very clear that this is not me saying it was worth it, or that the fact I was able to find value in playing the game like this is inherently a good thing. It is simply to make clear that the reason I keep playing games I love in an unfun way, despite feeling like I'm kind of ruining them, is due to the human instinct to dredge meaning from any experience, regardless of how much it sucks. It is, in fact, pure hope. Now, I do think that term gets used in a way that is far too dismissive. Most things in life do not go exactly our way, and it is in our ability to cope that allows us to not be miserable every waking minute. Being able to find enjoyment in wasted time and missteps is part of being human. Ultimately, while I do think it is a good thing that I am able to do this, I don't think it is necessarily always good when I do. There are plenty of instances where I think I would be better off disrupting the patterns I naturally fall into, and I hope this reflection of me clearly pointing out to myself and to you the ways in which I approach games in unfun ways, whether it be just on a normal playthrough or on a 100% playthrough, will get me to do that a bit more. Just because I can make meaning doesn't mean I should, and I think I need to get better at knowing when to back down. I have my doubts though. For instance, a tiny yet not insignificant part of me wants to 100% Dark Souls 3 again. It annoys me that I 100%ed Dark Souls 1, Dark Souls 2, and Bloodborne on PlayStation, and Dark Souls 3, Elden Ring, and Night Rain on PC. It'd be nice to have all of them done on one platform, and that's really only possible on PlayStation. Also, frankly, Elden Ring and Night Rain weren't all that hard to 100%, so the worst part about getting the Platinums would really just be doing the Dark Souls 3 grind again. And look, it wasn't that bad, all things considered. Now, this would mean doing Sekiro 2, as I'd want to complete the set, and that'd be tough, as I've heard it has almost as bad of a grind as Dark Souls 3. And also I'd want to do the original Demon's Souls, which unfortunately calls for more grinding than all of the Dark Souls games combined. And then I don't know, maybe I should do Scholar of the First Sin to get the full DS2 experience, and the Demon's Souls remake, because I've heard they've changed the trophies from the original, and Armored Core 6, as I might as well do it if I'm doing all the rest. I don't think I will do this. I really hope I don't do this. There is a non-zero chance that I will do this. What's more likely is I will get swept up again in the way I did with Dark Souls 3 or Clair Obscur or the dozens of others before it. I will become so focused with the result that I won't properly address the process until I've sunk too much time in it. It is who I've been and who I am and who I will be. And in fairness, it has worked out pretty well. I love games and I love talking about games, and because of that, regardless of what an experience entails, I always will get something out of anything I play. The mere existence of this channel has acted as a way for me to add value to every game I try. And now that it is my job to talk about games, that is more true than ever. I'm in a unique position where a bad experience with a game can lead to me making something just as interesting, if not more interesting, than a good experience with a game. Frankly, this platform kind of incentivizes is it. I try not to let that affect how I personally approach games. I don't go into something with a negative mindset hoping I can farm it for content, but I also don't always go into stuff with the intentionality that I probably should. I do like the sentiment of playing games in the way that is most fun to you, and maybe it is just that easy for many of you, but I at least have not found it to be that simple. It is hard to always be aware of the habits and patterns you subconsciously fall into when actually playing something. And even when you are, the way games are designed to bring about so many variables that can get in the way. With that said, while I don't know that I can just play games in a way that is the most fun, I would like to play them in a way that is more intentional, to not always get swept up in how I tend to approach them, which in one way or another always is about me focusing too much on the goal, whether it comes in the form of mainlining content for progression's sake, or hyperfixating on completion criteria that is neither interesting or fun. I want to move away from it a bit, to be better at making sure I'm actually getting the most out of everything I play, to go against my instincts sometimes, and instead try to play games in the way someone else might, in order to see what my playstyle might be missing. It could be that this in itself is a bad idea, that it will lead to me having a terrible time in entirely new ways, but if this grind taught me anything, it is that I will find a way to make it matter nonetheless.
Weakling. Oh, for Lord! There's no time to lose. Watch out!
Oh my god. I still have to get the game 2 more times. Through all of this, I have been thinking a lot about all of the games I've 100%ed over the years. So I decided to put together a video where I go over every single one I've done and give them a rating based on how enjoyable or annoying they were to complete. It has been a while since I've played many of them, and there honestly ended up being way more games than I would have guessed. I had a lot of fun reflecting on my gaming history, and I think you'll be surprised by some of them. I did also give out one 10 out of 10 for a game that I actually think is worth 100%ing, and you might too. If you'd like to watch the video to find out which one it is, even though you already know it's Outer Wilds, you can check it out right now on Nebula. I've been a part of Nebula for a good while now. You've almost certainly heard me talk about them before, and will again, because it is the best place online to watch videos from many of your favorite creators, like me, Game Maker's Toolkit, Jacob Geller, King K, and tons of others. You not only get the best versions of these creators' main videos, but you'll also get tons of bonus stuff exclusive to Nebula. I'd recommend checking out the video I mentioned already, as well as a conversation I had with Jacob, Iron Pineapple, and Eurothug 4000 about Clear Obscure Expedition 33 and all of our thoughts on it. We actually recorded that before I had started to 100% it, so it is an interesting little time capsule that shows the differences between how I felt right after rolling credits to how I feel now. Along with that, there are Nebula original shows like Abolish Everything, which is sort of a panel presentation show where guests make pitches for things they think should be abolished. It is a lot of fun. Nebula just has a wealth of things to watch and listen to, made by many of the most thoughtful people out there. For those interested in being more intentional with what they watch, I can't recommend a better place to go. So by going to nebula.tv/Rasputin or just clicking the link in the description, you can sign up for a year at just $3 a month. It is a killer deal and one of the best ways to help support what I do, as well as all the creators on the site. So sign up, check out my videos on all the games I've 100%ed, and then enjoy everything else Nebula has to offer. Anyway, thanks to Nebula for sponsoring this video. For all of you still here, hello. As always, I want to give a big thanks to my patrons for making this channel possible. I hope you all have a great day and or night, and I will see you in the next one.
Okay. 900 days streak on Duolingo. Yo. Almost 3 years. That's ridiculous. Okay, let's see. Yeah, congrats. Here. Day 6 hours. Yes, tomorrow. 3 days, 6 hours. 3 days, 6 hours. Yeah, 6 hours. 3 days, 6 hours.
The idea that Donald Trump could be dead has raced around the internet, as Twitter absolutely exploded into a meltdown over the possibility of the President of the United States not being alive. It's come from the fact that public appearances have been scant as of late, JD Vance referenced that he would step up as president in the face of a terrible tragedy, and some are speculating that activities amongst fast food places close to the White House have increased. However, the fact that he has no public events scheduled for this weekend is the real kicker. We're talking about a man who has an extremely public profile suddenly going dark, although given how far these rumors have spread, it is extremely likely that an official statement will be coming out soon. After all, the fact that Trump finds his audience in social media and has frequently posted his opinions and movements on there as something of an unofficial press release for the White House is significant, as one would assume he would have posted a video of himself to deter rumors. The fact of the matter is that the internet is buzzing like an insectoid hive mind at the very chance that the president could be dead. So whilst it's possible, it's also worth taking every rumor with a grain of salt, as it's likely to be speculation rather than fact. Although his social media pages are posting, it is unclear if it is him behind each post, as some claim it could very well be scheduled in advance for, or simply a PR team constructing each one. The point is, as Trump gets older and more health issues become apparent, the likelihood of his passing increases. His death has become a huge meme in the past, of course, like when he had multiple assassination attempts and the imagery of his bleeding ear became front-page news for weeks. It's exactly the same here. The mere implication that he might not be in the best of health is enough for the streets to go wild with rumors, gossip, and memes all referencing the idea that Donald Trump might not be alive. In short, the mere speck of a rumor that Donald Trump is dead has managed to set the internet alight. And whilst his accounts are still posting, the fact that he's made next to no public appearances over the past couple of days seems to be enough to rile everyone up and turn the idea into a shitpost. What meme would you guys like me to give a lesson in next? Let me know in the comments below.
And remember, like and subscribe! Or else...
Okay. Lisa?
Another unstable Unreal Engine 5 title. Why are we not optimizing these games properly and promoting the use of FrameGen and or upscaling to fix the issue rather than making it an accessible feature if needed? Had a lot of fun and loved the story until now, but it's really badly optimized and has the usual Unreal Engine problems. The game is barely playable upon the release due to performance issues, poor optimization, which is sadly a standard now, random stutters, and frames per second drops down to single-digit levels, which can only be fixed by a restart. Frequent Unreal Engine 5 crashes followed by shaders compiling every time you launch the game. Absolutely terrible, just awful, a disaster. I can't tell if it's bad luck, overconfidence, or Unreal Engine Engine's fault, but whatever it is, it's a mess. Unreal, get it, among of stuttering, crashing, and terrible optimization, but it's okay because nostalgia. I have two problems with this game, otherwise it's a good game slash remaster. One, Unreal Engine sucks, bad performance and crashes, even though my PC is better than the recommended specs. From what I've played, it's pretty good. The original is my favorite game, and this should be an easy recommend, but wow, this PC port is bad. Unreal Engine 5 continues to prove itself as the worst optimized modern graphics engine. And lastly, we are in 2025, and the game doesn't support ultra-wide monitor and another UE5 game with bad optimization. Now, some of you may have been able to put the pieces together, but of all of these, complaints that I just went over, these are for all different experiences that have released in the last
Mafia, Oblivion, Silent Hill, Chang, Mandale, Metal Gear Solid, Stalker.
year. The big similarity between all these remarks is the fact that these were complaints all made of Unreal Engine 5 games. This has become a prevalent issue. This is something that a lot of people have been talking about the last number of months, and so the fact is Unreal Engine 5 truly ruining modern gaming? And this is a lot more complicated than some people just like to make it out to be. It's not just, oh my god, Unreal Engine 5 is totally unusable, because there are experiences, there are games that have been fully optimized, and you haven't heard these complaints, although it does feel like it's almost a 50-50 shot at that. But specifically the game that's right now under fire and everybody's talking about Unreal Engine 5 once again is this last remark that we just went over, and this is Metal Gear Solid Delta. And specifically on the Steam page there's various remarks, various complaints about UE5 and its contribution to this game not running too well. Now fortunately on Steam it doesn't seem like the issues are too bad, but the platform that has really come under fire is the PlayStation 5 Pro Performance. Now this article from PlayStation Lifestyle goes over it. They go over some testing that Digital Foundry did, and what they found was that Konami didn't optimize MGS Delta to run at a locked 60 FPS. On both the PlayStation 5 and PS5 Pro, the outlet found that the game wavers between 40 to 60 FPS, even dipping to 30 in some areas. In my eyes, for a $70 experience, a premium game, that is unacceptable. But unfortunately, this just keeps on fucking happening. Now, there's been other videos, other showcases of these problems with MGS Delta. Nick Tech, a YouTuber and also a Twitter social media guy, he pointed out, I tried running MGS Delta Snake Eater on the lowest possible settings with an internal
Boring. Isn't there anything else more interesting to do? Tea parties are a must for the well-mannered. If you'd like to learn the proper etiquette, I'd be happy to teach you. Boring. Isn't there anything else more interesting to do? Tea parties are a must for the well-mannered. If If you'd like to learn the proper etiquette, I'd be happy to teach you. Boring. Isn't there anything else more interesting to do? Being too popular can be such a hassle. Who knew the people would adore me so much? Tea parties are a must for the well-mannered. If you'd like to learn the proper etiquette, I'd be happy to teach you. Boring. Isn't there anything else more interesting to do? Being too popular can be such a hassle. Who knew the people would adore me so much? Tea parties are a must for the well-mannered. If you'd like to learn the proper etiquette, I'd be happy to teach you. Boring! Isn't there anything else more interesting to do? Being too popular can be such a hassle. Who knew the people would adore me so much? Tea parties are a must for the well-mannered. If you'd like to learn the proper etiquette, I'd be happy to teach you. Being too popular can be such a hassle. Who knew the people would adore me so much? Boring! Isn't there anything else more interesting to do? Tea parties are a must for the well-mannered. If you'd like to learn the proper etiquette, I'd be happy to teach you. Boring! Isn't there anything else more interesting to do? Tea parties are a must for the well-mannered. If you'd like to learn the proper etiquette, I'd be happy to teach you. more interesting to do? Tea parties are a must for the well-mannered. If you'd like to learn the proper etiquette, I'd be happy to teach you. Boring! Isn't there anything else more interesting to do?
Insulation chamber deployed. A little illusion extinguished.
Let my name echo in song!
The pinnacle of excellence!
Cleanup sequence initial.
A dash of frosting! Search! Ha.
Defensive mode engaged.
Up to the freezer! A burst of flavor! Know of any new orchestral pieces? I like to swap out the background music in the kitchen once in a while. It's a great way to find new inspiration. An important part of cooking is making sure the ingredients absorb the flavors in the dish. To that end, a chef must be able to wield a knife with the same level of precision as a surgeon. Practice makes perfect. Know of any new orchestral pieces? I like to swap out the background music in the kitchen once in a while. It's a great way to find new inspiration. An important part of cooking is making sure the ingredients absorb the flavors in the dish. To that end, a chef must be able to wield a knife with the same level of precision as a surgeon. Practice makes perfect. Know of any new orchestral pieces? I like to swap out the background music in the kitchen once in a while. It's a great way to find new inspiration. Even the most unassuming ingredients can produce astounding flavor. But unlocking that potential takes a keen sense of smell, a refined palate, and an open mind. An important part of cooking is making sure the ingredients absorb the flavors in the dish. To that end, a chef must be able to wield a knife with the same level of precision as a surgeon. Practice makes perfect. Even the most unassuming ingredients can produce astounding flavor. But unlocking that potential takes a keen sense of smell, a refined palate, and an open mind. Know of any new orchestral pieces? I like to swap out the background music in the kitchen once in a while. It's a great way to find new inspiration. An important part of cooking is making sure the ingredients absorb the flavors in the dish. To that end, a chef must be able to wield a knife with the same level of precision as a surgeon. Practice makes perfect. Even the most unassuming ingredients can produce astounding flavor. But unlocking that potential takes a keen sense of smell, a refined palate, and an open mind. Know of any new orchestral pieces? I like to swap out the background music in the kitchen once in a while. It's a great way to find new inspiration. Even the most unassuming ingredients can produce astounding flavor. But unlocking that potential takes a keen sense of smell, a refined palate, and an open mind. Know of any new orchestral pieces? I like to swap out the background music in the kitchen once in a while. It's a great way to find new inspiration. An important part of cooking is making sure the ingredients absorb the flavors in the dish. To that end, a chef must be able to wield a knife with the same level of precision as a surgeon. Practice makes perfect. Even the most unassuming ingredients can produce astounding flavor. But unlocking that potential takes a keen sense of smell, a refined palate, and an open mind. An important part of cooking is making sure the ingredients absorb the flavors in the dish. To that end, a chef must be able to wield a knife with the same level of precision as a surgeon. Practice makes perfect. Even the most unassuming ingredients can produce astounding flavor. But unlocking that potential takes a keen sense of smell, a refined palate, and an open mind. An important part of cooking is making sure the ingredients absorb the flavors in the dish. To that end, a chef must be able to wield a knife with the same level of precision as a surgeon. Practice makes perfect. Even the most unassuming ingredients can produce astounding flavor. But unlocking that potential takes a keen sense of smell, a refined palate, and an open mind. Yeah.
Resolution of 6.
How far would Saitama get in Dragon Ball Z?
The show begins! Let the world come alive!
Installation chamber deployed. Cleanup sequence.
A dash of frosting! The pinnacle of excellence!
Goku versus Saitama is an absolute wash. I don't think I need to prove this to anyone with a functioning brain. However, he still has a place somewhere on the totem pole, so where exactly would he land? You've seen these kind of videos before. I don't need to explain anything beyond that. While Saitama is incredibly impressive in verse, if you put him in the world of Dragon Ball, a lot of his Season 1 feats don't get him past the Red Ribbon Army. Saitama remains a Tao Pai Pai victim until his fight against the dominator of the universe, Lord Boros. On the low end, his most powerful attack, the Collapsing Star Roaring Cannon, still doesn't get past Multi-Continental, with Lord Boros in the manga saying that the attack would completely destroy the surface of the planet, which is a less impressive feat than Master Roshi one-shotting the moon during the 21st Tenkaichi. However, the anime more so implies that it'll destroy the Earth entirely, which is also backed up by the One Punch Man Encyclopedia. This would easily get Lord Boros and Saitama by extension up to planetary levels, with Saitama being potentially large planetary level if you wanted to be a little generous. You could even potentially get this to star level if you wanted to purposefully misinterpret some things, such as the name of the attack. That would be a naming fallacy, but you know, you do you. There's also the One Punch Man Blu-ray guide, which says that Lord Boros' attack is strong enough to obliterate a star, which is a pretty big mistranslation, as the kanji used, the Hoshi, can just refer to a celestial body, which would likely be referring to Earth in this case. Even stranger is how pretty much on the same entry it says that Lord Boros has enough latent energy to destroy planets, so that's more evidence for the planetary argument. However, even the energy required to obliterate a planet the size of Earth would only get Lord Boros to large planetary at best. In terms of speed, Saitama's jump from the moon back to the planet is roughly calced at 6% the speed of light. However, this is likely a very casual casual feat from Saitama, as Lord Boros was able to hit him to the moon at roughly 40-50% the speed of light, which would put Lord Boros at relativistic and Saitama at relativistic to relativistic plus, depending on how you want to do it. So currently we have a Saitama that scales anywhere from multi-continental to large planetary, and anywhere from relativistic to relativistic plus. Let's stop here for a moment and take a look at what this would scale to in terms of Dragon Ball. While the term planetary might make you think that Saitama scales to the Saiyan saga at the very least, you'd actually be surprised at how strong characters from OG Dragon Ball are. Realistically, I think Saitama caps off anywhere from the Demon King Piccolo saga all the way to the Saiyan saga, depending on how you want to scale him. While he was extremely casual during his fight with Lord Boros, he is unquantifiably stronger and there's no evidence to really move him up a tier. So I think my general placement for him is accurate, at least based off of these feats, and I'll explain why. According to El Manga Legendario, you need a power level of 10,000 to destroy a planet. However, based on King Vegeta being able to no-diff multiple planets in the anime, this statement's at least a little misleading. When you take into account how King Cold called Earth a very small planet, it's possible that this statement from El Manga is actually referring to very large planets. This is all relevant because on the low end, I think Saitama would have a pretty good match against Demon King Piccolo. Really quick, I do want to disprove one statement from the Daizenshu, which compares King Piccolo's power to that of a small nuke, which is incredibly inconsistent even if you want to take Master Roshi's moonbusting feat out of the equation. Even at a low ball, King Piccolo is heavily implied to be able to no-diff massive chunks of the earth instantaneously, which we'll talk about in a minute. If you wanted this statement to make any sort of sense, it's potentially referring to this panel and this panel exclusively, where he's able to no-diff an entire city. Moving on to his actual scaling, if you wanted to discount Master Roshi's moonbusting feat as an outlier, he still has enough evidence to solidly put him at multi-continental, and this is at a massive low ball. When he takes over the world, Demon King Piccolo makes an announcement to everyone saying that every year he will destroy 1/43 of the entire planet using his Demon Ray of Obliteration, with the manga even using phrases like instantaneously or in the blink of an eye, depending on your translation. With that sort of power, if he put all of his energy behind one massive attack, he could potentially completely destroy the surface of the earth, much like the lower
tomorrow, because Monday is rest day. Okay. Alright, that's going to be it for the stream. Good luck, fun, thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.